Hello everyone, I am Silly Squirrel, and we are ReviveMeBroGames, a gaming podcast where two best friends discuss cooperative games, multiplayer games, and so much more. Master Rein is currently not available for this podcast, so he will not be joining us today. Instead, we have Leo and the one and only JohnnyBoi, which I'm sure you're all familiar with at this point. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm also a one and only. Thank you.
Yes, you're quite unique, Leo. You're definitely quite unique. I only said one and only because JohnnyBoi gets teased on the Discord a lot. So
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, he gets bullied by a Welsh guy. It's quite hilarious.
No, I'm missing out.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to have you guys on another pod, especially Leo. Since we haven't heard from you since our Diablo episode, so I'm really excited to have you.
Thank you. I bought a new mic just for you. I'm waiting for that check, to pay me back.
Yeah, bro, don't worry. It's on its
in the
way
mail,
already.
You said, right?
Yep.
All right, I'm waiting.
Just,
and I hope so I can afford my rent.
And then maybe a little bit so you can invest on some coins. But
Okay.
okay.
Dogecoin.
Mm-hmm. To the moon and back.
Sounds good.
I got some NFTs to sell you when you get the check.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
What are you guys playing lately? What's on y'all's list of games?
You want me to go first, Johnny?
Yeah, go first.
Well, I finished Spider-Man 2 not long ago.
Nice.
I have Super Mario Wonder, but I haven't tried it yet.
Gotcha.
Playing Season 2 of Diablo 4.
Of course.
What else? Oh, I just started. Oh man, I just forgot the name. It's Jusant.
What now?
Yeah, Jusant, the climbing game. It's a climbing game.
Okay.
It's on Game Pass. I think it's made by Ubisoft. I'm not sure.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I've been up to.
All right, just saw it. I'll definitely have to check that one out. Yeah, I also Spider-Man. I'm not even gonna touch that right now. I've got a backlog. That is
It
nice.
was amazing. It was a great game. You have to try it.
Mm-hmm. Well, not to go too much into detail, but what was your favorite? Any favorite gameplay mechanics or anything about the game that you absolutely loved?
I mean, absolutely love everything, just everything. As far as gameplay mechanics, it just feels good, to play as Spider-Man swinging, and it's way better than before because this one was designed for the PS5, so it definitely takes advantage. It has super quick loading, so it lets you swing through the city quicker. There's more speed, and now you can fly too. You can glide, just good time.
Yeah, no, and I know that they were definitely in the first game. The creators were definitely proud of how quick their load times were, even for a PlayStation 4. So PlayStation 5 must be like, oof, like just barely any loading screen. So that's cool. That's good to hear. What about you, JohnnyBoi? What have you been playing lately?
I am back on Diablo as well. with
Vicio.
With Leo. I tried out the finals. Decent game. I like it. It was enjoyable. But I don't know. I just haven't been feeling shooters all that much lately. Still playing Sea of Stars on the Switch. Trying to finish that game. Yeah.
Amazing game.
But yeah, I don't know why. I'm not feeling shooters at the moment. I'm not in the mood. I haven't been in the mood for shooters lately. I don't know what it is. No
Apex, no Payday.
Well, Payday's not supposed to be a shooter. It turns into a shooter with you guys. It's not supposed to.
Touche. But yeah, it's funny. I just uploaded our stream that we did like a week ago of Payday, and after going through the footage, I'm like, my God, we can't hold that. That trigger finger is really itchy.
Yeah. On one of them, it was going perfectly, and then the game glitched out, and I got stuck on a door, and which caused the guard to get released and all that mess. So
yeah, that was kind of fun
up until that point.
Yeah, that was kind of fun though. Because it's like, no, all right, boom. But no, okay. Okay. Well, Diablo, huh? You two back at the Diablo horse.
Yeah, back on the Diablo.
El vicio, man. El vicio.
New season.
You
I already hit level 100 on my new rogue, and I already completed the battle pass.
Wow. Impressive, bro. Impressive. Didn't this game came out like, when did it come out? Like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
I don't know.
No,
the new season, I'm not sure.
Second week or third week of October?
Oh, okay.
I think October 13th or something like that, I think.
Okay, so
it was the 20th. I think it's the 20th of October.
It's been 3 weeks. Yeah. Got it. Anyway.
Playing a little bit slow compared to everybody else.
Yeah. We took our time.
Cool. And would you say this season was worth the wait?
It's definitely better than season 1. Yeah.
All right. Great. Glad to hear.
Great. It's going in the right direction at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this isn't a Diablo review, so we're just gonna move ahead with the PSA and then talk about Remnant 2. So PSA for the pod. We are available anywhere you get your podcasts. If you listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star review. It's free and helps us support the pod. Plus, we're giving away free merch. All you got to do is send us a screenshot of your 5-star review to our email or social media with your name and address, and we will send the goods wherever you are. Also, remember to check out our YouTube pages with our latest streams and, of course, episodes of the podcast. All right, so for today's pod, I'll be doing a panel just like we did with Diablo 4 review. I didn't get a chance to play Remnant 2. I am very familiar though with Remnant. So I decided to ask these fine gentlemen about the game, and they'll give us their review. And as you've heard, if they're Diablo experts, they're definitely they're into this type of looting game stuff, because this is looter shooter, right? This is considered a looter shooter. Yeah. So like this is definitely up your alley in terms of games. So but before we begin, also the proper review, what is Remnant 2? Remnant 2 is a third-person shooter inspired by Souls-like video games. Players can wield up to 2 guns alongside with their melee weapons. At the beginning of the game, players can select their character archetypes. And while the first game features procedural generation by changing a level's layout and enemy spawn points, which I believe it's still a thing on the second one, it's been significantly expanded. According to Gunfire Games, enemy types, the aesthetics of a region, boss characters, non-playable characters, and the game's storyline and quests are all randomly generated. Players can play through the entire game solo and also play with 3 other players in cooperative multiplayer, which is why, of course, we are reviewing this game. First things first, what were your first impressions compared to the last game?
Go ahead, Johnny.
So I didn't play the first game. So
really?
Be a bad choice for that. Yeah. My first introduction into Remnant 2 is Remnant 2.
Okay.
Sapito just told me, hey, you don't have to play the first game, just come in and play with us. So I did. So aside from the first game, I don't know how the mechanics played in the first game, but you know, everything was pretty smooth mechanics wise. The dodging, like, I got used to it like almost immediately. Once I got past the tutorial area, I kind of figured it out.
Yeah, I was hoping Johnny could answer that one, because I also never played Remnant 1.
I'm the only one here that played Remnant 1?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, cool.
I never even heard of it, I think, before this point. Sapito was just like, hey, I want to play this game. And I was like, okay, let's play it. And that was it.
So
I never played it before. I never heard of it. But it was good.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
We had fun.
So I did play Remnant 1, and I did play a fair amount of it with Sapito also, and with the Master Rein. And I will say that I really do think it's kind of a hidden gem of a game, because not a lot of people talked about it. I think it was very under the radar, but gameplay-wise, it was solid, very entertaining. The co-op was very seamless, and the idea of playing a Dark Souls game but with guns at first felt very intimidating, but as Johnny kind of alluded to, like once you kind of get into the tutorial and kind of get in the groove of it, it's still challenging, but it's not like Dark Souls hard. At least I didn't feel like it was like Dark Souls hard. So I'm actually I'm very much looking forward to how you guys felt about Remnant 2 as your only experience. If anything, this should be an even more accurate review because you're coming at it very fresh.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so well, that means the second question doesn't really pertain, right? So let's do this. So first things first, this game has a story.
Yes.
And JohnnyBoi mentioned that Leo mentioned that you didn't really have to play the first game to play the second one. Would you say that the story enticed you to keep playing?
Oh, let me go first because I'll let Johnny pick up
your
carry the weight
slack.
here. But yes, I have no idea what the story was. I was not paying attention. I was I don't know. We were all on Discord, talking. We weren't really paying attention. I have no idea what was going on. I was just playing, I was just focused on the gameplay. I have no idea what the story is. I didn't hear a single word. I was confused the entire way. I don't know.
All right, JohnnyBoi.
I know nothing.
All right. So a lot of the story is kind of told like in Elden Ring through the items, especially the lore of the areas you visit.
Okay.
So it's like very Elden Ring. Like you have to read some of the items, and it'll kind of tell you a little bit the story of like that area. Like the actual like story, like you had some cutscenes. It's not like absolutely no cutscenes in the story. Like basically is we go to this encampment where it seems like the last few humans are of living, and there's like other little pockets of humans living in this torn down world because of the root that's taken over and trying to take over multiple realms. So from there you get saved by, I can't remember her name, but she has powers and abilities, so she heals you. She kind of almost brings you back from the dead.
Okay.
From there you go and you find the world stone, which basically can teleport you to different realms. And it's located in this labyrinth. And from that labyrinth, you can travel to other realms where the root has taken hold. So you're trying to find the source of the root by going through the labyrinth and then trying to destroy where the root comes from. And this girl has some abilities that she uses along with this kind of like AI that's left over from like an ancient civilization that tried to stop the root. So it reminded me a little bit of Halo, story-wise, because you have this ancient civilization who try to stop what basically is kind of like the flood, and kind of failed, but now it's helping the girl who has these abilities to help destroy the root.
Okay.
So, as you progress, you go through different worlds and fight some bosses to try to unlock the key to the realm that contains like the beginning of the root. And it happens to just look like Earth.
Okay. All right.
Like another Earth. Yeah.
All right, cool. I mean, that sounds pretty interesting, to be honest. I remember in the first game, the tutorial was very much setting up that whole, like, the root just destroyed the whole world, and you have all these monsters and apparitions. Like, it was, at least for me, it was interesting enough for me to, like, want to find out some more. And it seems like the second game really, really builds on that. So I guess as long as the gameplay's fun.
The gameplay's fun. The bosses are tough. And there's, like, story bosses you have to beat to unlock the other worlds and move on in the story. But there's optional bosses are a nightmare. Like, a nightmare. But I'll get into that once we get to that.
Yeah. We'll talk about bosses in a little bit, but let's move on to the next thing then. So in this type of game, you select, you have a certain build, right? Like, you just don't go as a one-player character and that's it. Like, so can you guys describe to me what was your build and why? And then from there on, we can talk about archetypes and how those function.
Yeah, I started with Hunter. Hunter was the first class, basically, the archetype I started with. The reason for that is because basically at the beginning, the choices you get are basically a tank, a medic, a hunter. Was there a fourth, Johnny? I don't remember.
The medic.
To start. Yeah, I said the medic.
So
was it 3 or 4 to start?
It was 4. I think it was the first one was called the Gunslinger, maybe? No?
No, I think the Gunslinger's later.
Okay, so it might. So, the hunter, the handler, the one with the dog.
Oh yeah, the handler.
The challenger and the medic. And the challenger was the tank.
Yeah, so Sapito went with the dog build. So I did not want to tank or heal, so I went with hunter.
Okay.
Which is basically just like long range. You can mark them. You do precision damage. You get bonuses to precision damage. So I went with that, but eventually you unlock more, and eventually you can also equip a secondary archetype.
Okay.
So once I unlocked that, I was a hunter medic, and then once I started unlocking other classes, I basically tried everything.
Okay.
I played with all the different archetypes.
Cool.
But still never enjoyed being a medic or a tank.
Okay. JohnnyBoi, what about you?
I started off with the hunter as well, and then I spec'd into engineer once we found that archetype, because there's archetypes you can find their items out in the wild, and then you can create like this emblem which lets you use that archetype. So engineer was the first one we found, and that's the one I basically ran the whole game with, and it basically let me like put down a turret or flamethrower and stuff like that. It's pretty useful.
Yeah, from what I'm reading, apparently there's let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11 archetypes in total.
Yeah.
There's one that unlocks once you beat the game the first time, which is Explorer. But I don't think we unlocked every single archetype.
No, we unlocked a few, and there's some that you have to beat certain bosses or do certain things in the game to even be able to unlock them. And that's part of the replayability. Like, you can replay it to unlock those archetypes.
It seems to me that y'all had suggested that you can switch archetypes in the middle of the game. Is this correct?
Correct.
Yes.
All right. So, like, you're basically not stuck with whatever build you start off with. How do you guys feel about having those archetypes open once they're open?
It was a huge help.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's great because you have that freedom. We would definitely swap out archetypes when we would be, hitting our head against the wall on a boss. We would mix it up and try again. And we definitely succeeded by swapping out our archetypes.
Can you give me an example of maybe one of those instances?
I believe Sapito switched back to his handler medic.
Okay.
Which basically, and then like I switched from because I had switched to gunslinger and hunter, so like just doing pure DPS, and then I switched back to engineer and put my turret down, which took like attention of a boss, which helped us be able to revive and stuff like that. So
yeah. And Sapito with his handler medic, he could send the dog to go revive you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So the three of you were able to combine your different archetypes to basically complement each other.
Yeah, it definitely allowed us to experiment, Whenever we were failing, we'd swap them out and try again.
Does that also affect overall your weapon selection, or would you say that there's not much of a difference?
You can still use any weapon you want. You're not going to be limited by the archetype. It's just that you get bonuses. There are also traits that you can level up.
Okay.
And they'll give you boost and bonuses to certain weapon types. But you can use any weapon. It doesn't matter what archetype you are.
So really pushing on the freedom aspect of it, right? Like it's not, you're not stuck. Let's say you're a handler or a healer, and all you can do is melee. Like you can shoot a machine gun or snipe. Like that's pretty neat. What was your favorite archetype combination?
Ooh, I don't know. I was always rocking hunter pretty much. And then I would just swap out that secondary. I tried everything, but mostly always hunter. The entirety of the game, almost I was rocking hunter and doing precision hits.
Yeah, same. I had Hunter and then Engineer for the most of the game. I did switch to Gunslinger close to the end of the game because that's when I unlocked it. But it was, for me, it was better, and I got more used to playing with Engineer. That's my secondary class.
Mm,
Yeah, the gunslinger improves your it would improve your gun handling, your fire rate, your ammo. So it was definitely helpful. I played with the gunslinger as a secondary a lot too, because it definitely boosts up your hunter class a lot.
the ability for a game like Remnant to allow you to really experiment and like play around without necessarily costing you, besides maybe just maybe one archetype is better than against one boss than the other, is very very enticing. I think, especially for players that like those type of challenges, maybe are looking for something not as like narrow, not narrow, but like I feel like a lot of Dark Souls games besides Elden Ring tend to really, once you kind of stick to your track, you stay in that track. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Elden Ring might have changed that, Johnny Boy, that you can kind of like swap around, or am I just speaking out of my ass?
uh, well, Elden Ring is you have to go to the fireplace in order to swap anything out, but it's mainly based on the gear that you have when it comes to Elden Ring. It's like your build is very dependent on the gear that you have, and if you chose strength or magic, but uh, I,
I guess what I'm trying to say is the Remnant doesn't necessarily like
doesn't lock you in as much.
Exactly, yeah.
You can switch at any time. You can go back to the home base and switch your weapons, and then there even have like a firing range where you can test it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's each weapon has a weapon mod, and there's multiple weapon mods you can make, and you can make them off of things that the enemies drop, like the bosses drop.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a mod, and it goes on the gun, like it's like a secondary fire for it.
Gotcha.
So that adds to it, and you can swap those out too. It's very friendly to trying out different builds. It doesn't really punish you. The only thing that really locks you in is the trade points.
Okay.
You only have a certain amount of trade points, and you can only like reset them without a cost, and after that, it's gonna cost you to reset, and it's a resource that you have to farm.
Cool. So moving on. All right. So you've picked your archetype. You kind of go through the first cutscene and the tutorial. You get into the game. What would you say is the loop of the game? Like, is there a hub? Is it linear? Like what does that look like?
There's a hub, and then that you unlock basically when you start. There's one area that it puts you in, and that's randomized. I think there's about like 5 different worlds, and so that first world is going to be completely random.
Okay.
And that first time we played, actually, I did not like the world. It was it was sort of like an alien world. It's like you're on a desert planet at night, and I wasn't feeling it. But yeah, it's hub based, and the loop is looter shooter. You go out there once you get through the entire area. There's a final boss, and once you beat that final boss, then you unlock the next area.
So is it linear in that sense, where it's like you go to a level, beat it, come back to hub, level up, then you go to the next level, or is it like, does it let you pick?
You can always go back to the world, but yeah, you're basically going world to world to world.
Is anyone getting Crash Bandicoot vibes here? Like for some reason I keep thinking of Crash Bandicoot and how like you can go to
I can see it.
Okay.
I can totally see it, because then there's the labyrinth world too that you can go into.
Ooh.
So basically to once you defeat a boss from the first world that you're in, you have to go into the labyrinth, and through the labyrinth you unlock the next world. But once you unlock that, the crystal in that world, you can just teleport to there from your home base.
And are these worlds divided into different levels, or is it just one big level?
I think it's different levels. So there's actually only 3 worlds, but there's different areas within those worlds. For example, like the planet one, the one that you're like in space, is called Nerude or something like that, and it has different areas. And like one of them could be like it's like a spaceship type deal. You have like the human world, which is called Dran, and there's like different phases of it. One of them like looks like current times, and then the other piece of it kind of looks like Industrial Revolution times. And then you have the Fey world where like it's like fairies and stuff. That's called Losam. And there's different areas in that. There's like a forest, there's like a castle you're in, that kind of thing. So like there's 3 worlds with each world having different areas like that look vastly different, but it's still the enemy types are still the same in those areas.
No, there's more than 3, Johnny. There's 5. There's 5? The hub, which doesn't count, and then there's our favorite, which is Losam.
Yeah,
that's the best one. And then there's that forest. You remember that forest with like the red?
Yeah, that
one's separate. No,
really?
that's not
part of it.
Yeah, that one's separate.
Okay.
No, that's its own world. And then there's Narud, which is that like desert planet. There's the labyrinth, which is technically a world, and there's the final area, the root Earth.
But I thought that was just Earth. No.
Yeah, I mean it's Earth, but it's called root Earth.
Okay.
But
I think that's
its
the
own
part I got confused because it looks just like the world you're in. It
reminds me a lot of like Stranger Things. It's that kind of feel.
Oh, okay. Tentacles everywhere, you know.
Yeah, tentacles roots. And like destroyed, but it's Earth.
I mean, if the game doesn't have that many worlds, like what does it do in each level then to compensate, I guess, for only having 5? I mean, technically speaking, you only have 5 levels.
It's basically different bosses in different areas. Like there's some optional bosses that you don't even have to go to.
Okay.
But you can, and that if you walk through that area, you can fight that boss. But it's like not a mandatory story boss you have to fight. But they're there, and you can kind of tell with the path that takes you to that direction. And there's also random paths that you can just explore and find items for your build, like necklaces and armors and stuff like that.
Like if each level is so different, does that mean that each level has its own set of side quests, like unique to the world?
Yeah, for sure.
Any side quests in particular that you guys found very interesting or even more fun than the main story quest?
Well, interesting. There's one in the fairy world which I liked because we were trying to get this armor set, and you have to play basically like tic-tac-toe with this like fairy.
Okay.
And you have to play it correctly to like unlock these rooms that are locked to the side. So we were all like taking turns trying to beat the goddamn fairy. And the rest of us were like running into the locker rooms trying to find the armor. Oh. And that was fun.
Johnny.
Yeah, I think Johnny beat him at the end.
Yeah. Eventually figured him out.
Of course.
But yeah, and once we beat him, we got the armor set.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a cool looking set.
Yeah.
I wore it for most of the game.
I think like the cool part, I think it was part of the story. It's not really a side quest, but I just thought it was really well done. Like where we had to find that magic pen that would open the doorways.
Oh yeah.
And it also had like that world had a mechanic where you would like turn, like once you found these masks and you set these masks, you could turn a lever and it would basically switch you to an upside down world where everything was light and lit and the other side was dark. And each world had a different boss. It was the same boss, but it was the reflection of it.
Okay.
So one was the one was called like, was it the False King that he was called?
So each one said that they were the real king and that the other one was the false king. This is in the fairy world, and basically you run into the king in each of these zones, and each one is telling you that the other one is a fake and to kill the other one, and then you have to choose who you're gonna kill.
Oh.
We killed them both.
Just play it safe, kill them both.
Yeah, kill them
but
both.
We killed them both, but on different playthroughs because I think you can only kill one at a time. Once you kill one, the other guy's just like, cool, thank you, and you can't attack him anymore.
Yeah. It was in different. It was in different playthroughs, but because you don't really make progress on your own save. you only make progress in somebody's. When you play multiplayer, you only make progress in one.
Oh, so similar to the Force.
Yeah. So that's how we were able to play it twice, essentially.
Oh,
or 3 times even, I think.
Did we beat him 3 times?
I don't know, but we definitely
fought him
a
twice.
lot. We went into everybody's world.
Yeah, and the cool part about those 2 kings is like they each had different movesets when you fought them, so it wasn't the same fight.
Oh, that kind of goes into my next question. Since the main quest of whoever you're playing with is attached to whoever that player 1 is, does that mean that because the game is procedurally generated, does the game basically play different every single time? Like, were your gameplays ever at all the same?
It would change.
You eventually get to the same spots, but yeah, no, it's different. Like when we went to, I believe Sapito's world, like the first boss we fought in Leo's world was like this warm looking thing. And then we later fought him in Sapito's world, and it was like this thing that could teleport. And it was like...
It was much harder.
It was much harder.
Okay.
So it was the same boss, but it was just a completely different fight.
Yeah, I don't know what we did different, but definitely we changed something in that world that I have no idea what we did. But it was a much harder fight.
And since you guys since we're already talking about bosses, how were the bosses of this game? And as we all know, like sometimes bosses can really make or break any video game. I'm looking at you, Deus Ex. Would you guys think about the bosses overall? And did you have any favorite bosses that you'd love to fight?
I found the Fire King memorable because he was stupid fucking hard. He was so hard.
Oh yeah.
He was so hard. We fought him a bunch of times, and after that, it was like the final boss. The final boss, like the Fire King and the final boss, were the hardest ones for us. Like, because like at first it took us a while to like learn the mechanics of the Fire King. And then, once we learned them, it was still stupid hard because, like, he had this move which would basically force you in this tiny circle. And you would have to dodge his attacks in that circle. And if you stepped out...
And you had to be in the circle because if you're out of the circle, you die.
Oh, shit.
And, like, he like, trying to revive anybody when they were down was difficult.
Impossible.
Like, the attack patterns that he had, like, were quick. Like... He did not give you a break while he was.
He would kill you if you were trying to res anybody. So you just had to survive it, before you can res anybody. You just had to get through it.
Okay, so the Red King seemed to be a favorite of you two. Any other bosses?
Not mine.
No, all right.
Not mine. I hated that shit. I hated that.
Never mind.
But I mean, I can enjoy a challenging fight, but I wouldn't call it a favorite. But I'm glad we killed them.
Okay. So.
Favorites? I'm not sure. I like those Fairy Kings. Those Fairy Kings were really cool. Those were good fights. But yeah, good bosses overall. All the bosses I think were pretty memorable. And we had a good time fighting them.
That maze where we had to shoot the blocks.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a good one. It's fun.
That's a good one.
But we kept dying because we were dumb.
That reminds me a little bit of like Destiny, of Destiny on that one.
That was a fun one. Like it was good one. It's a little frustrating because we were being stupid and getting too greedy, but it's not a difficult fight and it was fun.
Yeah. You have to like split up and everybody took like a different entrance point into the maze, and then there are these blocks that can fall on you and kill you.
Okay.
And you have to shoot these spots on them to destroy the blocks. And the fight isn't going to be over until you destroy all those spots.
Oh.
And there are some in the sky, and they're shooting at you from the sky too. And you got to, so you got to be looking up. You got to be looking at your sides. You got to make sure that no block is going to fall on you. So it was interesting. That was a good one.
Hey, Johnny, I like how Leo all of a sudden remembers everything.
I did not remember any of this stuff until Johnny started talking about it. I forgot all this shit. Like that Fire King, I didn't remember that either. But now that I remember, I'm like, that bastard.
Yeah.
That fight, man.
We were on that fight forever.
Yeah,
and we were all getting very irritated on that fight.
Cool. I think you guys already alluded to this a little bit, but the co-op experience, which is, our bread and butter here. How was the overall co-op experience? Did it change the way you played the game at all? Was it a hindrance? Was it helpful? Was it great? Was it seamless? Can you play it solo, or does it have to be co-op? Like,
no, I thought it was seamless. It was smooth. I gotta say, overall about the game, that it was very polished. I don't think we encountered any bugs, which is rare these days.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't have any issues. We never had any problems. And it's pretty standard the way it worked, where the progress is being made on the main person's world.
Yeah.
But obviously everybody else is still leveling up and collecting items, and that you keep. Oh. But the progress to the story and the progress done in the worlds, it's only for the main host. Mm-hmm. But that's standard. Like when we were playing Dying Light 2, it was the same way. But no issues.
Yeah, it was pretty seamless, easy to join, and I think the cool part is that we would play on different saves in order to get different drops from the same boss, essentially.
Oh.
Because like we mentioned earlier, the kings, you could only fight one. The way we got the drop for each of them was to fight both of them in like different saves.
And then, JohnnyBoi, would you ever, just play on your own, or did you always play with a friend?
I tried playing on my own. I didn't like it by myself as much. I had more fun and enjoyed the game a lot better playing with the Sapito and Leo. Playing it by myself was a little frustrating. I'd kind of after that, waited for the guys to get on.
Mm-hmm. Leo?
Yeah, no, same. I did play by myself a little just to farm stuff and level up. Overall, it's not a game that I think I would have played by myself. I wouldn't have played by myself. Only co-op, yeah.
So yeah, would you say that the game really, really, really it's pushing the co-op?
Well, it's just not my kind of game. Like I don't play Dark Souls or Demon Souls. I did try Elden Ring, but I didn't get very far.
Okay.
I just, not my style, not my kind of game. But I mean, if I could play Elden Ring with a bunch of friends, I think I would definitely do it.
That's a great way to put it, right? It's like, I think if anyone who plays anyone who enjoys Dark Souls games will come into this game playing by themselves and will probably have a good time. You know how like Dark Souls games are very much a single player game. And like you said, Elden Ring, if you could play co-op, that'd be great. So having a game like Remnant available as a Souls-like game, but having the ability to play with other friends, like, I mean, that just sounds like something I'm surprised From Software hasn't done yet,
Yeah.
Because it makes the failure, from like getting beaten by boss and stuff like that. Now it's shared, right? But it's no longer you bashing your head on the wall by yourself. It's like you do it with other friends and you try to figure out what's the best build. So it's cool. It opens doors for maybe people that aren't likely to try Dark Souls games, or at least from what I've seen playing Remnant 1, I definitely got that vibe, And if Remnant 2, it seems like it's a much better and more polished game, I think we will not hear the end of Remnant 2 for a while. I believe there's a DLC coming out.
Yeah, there's some DLC coming. So, we did play Remnant. We played it a lot. We beat it. I don't know if I think it would be a good time, but there's so many other stuff to try that I don't think it's high on my list to play that DLC.
Mm-hmm. JohnnyBoi?
I'll probably see once it comes out, there's more information on it. But yeah, I have a huge backlog as well. I keep saying I'm going to play Liza P, but I haven't even started it. Haven't finished Starfield yet. Haven't finished Sea of Stars yet. I got a lot in the backlog. I'll probably jump in once Sapito gets us all riled up and tells us I bought it, and then start playing it.
It tends to be the case, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Was there, we've been talking really, a lot of positives of the game. Was there any negative aspects or problems you have with the game overall? It could be gameplay. I know you already said that you didn't have really any connection issues or bugs, but was there anything in the game that you thought could have been done better, or maybe you just didn't like?
I think like the builds kind of weren't so self-explanatory a lot of the times, and trying to figure out how to upgrade some stuff wasn't all like the way explained, or I might have skipped through and didn't pay attention. I don't know. Could be my fault. But I just kind of felt like I needed a build planner to like see what kind of gear I needed and stuff like that, because there are like power levels in the game. Like a lot of stuff is not self-explanatory about the archetype stuff, so it was kind of a little lost. Again, it might have been my fault. I might have been skipping it through a lot of stuff because,
But
we're just
isn't that
talking on
also
Discord.
standard for that kind of game, right? Like Dark Souls doesn't really explain much
I
to
can't
you.
really fault it for that.
Yeah. I don't really have anything negative to say. Again, very polished game. We didn't run into any issues. What could be improved? I don't know. I guess more accessible, right, to new players. Like Johnny's saying. But yeah, that's about it.
It's a good game. It's a solid game.
Sea of Stars is a great game, and I beat it 100%. So
we're not talking
everybody
about
should
Sea
play
of Stars, though.
I know, but you should play Sea of Stars. That's a good game.
Yeah, no, it's a breath of fresh air. It was a very polished game that came out this year. I would say it's underrated. I don't think it got the attention it deserves. I enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it a lot.
Enjoyed the story that I remember. I remember a little bit more than Leo and Sapito.
I know nothing. Yeah.
Like I said, it felt a lot like Halo, like the story. It reminded me a lot of Halo.
I mean, that's a good thing
I
in
guess,
our circles.
It's a fun game to play with friends. I would say like I guess the only drawback for me particularly is like it probably wouldn't be a game I play by myself. But it's a great co-op game. I got recommended for that. But if you're very into Dark Souls and this game, it's your type of game to play by yourself.
As final thoughts, then, what would you rate this game out of 10? Leo, let's start with you.
If you're playing it with friends, for me, it's an 8. If I was playing it by myself, I just wouldn't play it, and it'd be like a 3. I don't know.
And granted, as a caveat, it's because it's not your type of game, right?
It's not my kind of game. Yeah. I know that by myself, I just would have died a ton of times, like constantly, and I would have gotten upset. With friends, it was a solid 8. We had a good time.
JohnnyBoi?
I'll give it a little higher. I'll give it like a solid 8.5. Like it's a very polished game, very solid. I would say a little underrated. Probably needs more attention from people if they've never played it. But I highly I would recommend playing it with friends. I found it more enjoyable, and just in my opinion here, because I'm like Leo. Like I'll play a Dark Souls game, but they're not my favorite thing to play. Like. So, like, doing this, like, multiplayer definitely helped, because I played a lot of Elden Ring with Master Rein. So that's how I got through a lot of Elden Ring, was playing with Master Rein. I still haven't finished Armored Core, because,
It's tough.
I like how you guys just go into other different games. Like, all right, yeah, this game is good, but Armored Core.
I'm just saying, like,
so
that game, like, frustrated me after a while, and I was like, I just want to play something more chill.
Yeah. And again, really need to we need to make that clear. It's like, if you enjoy Dark Souls games, you will get something out of Remnant 2. You'll definitely probably enjoy it. If you like co-op games and are curious about Dark Souls, this is definitely a game to play. If you're not into Souls-like games, but you like having fun with friends, this is another good game to play. It's very unique. Also,
for sure.
And then when it comes to co-op games, and I think it's very important to establish that, right? Because people will be like, it's either an 8 or it's not. It's either 10 or it's not. It's like, no, it really depends on what you want to get out of it. And I think as a co-op game, this does exactly that. It's great with friends, a lot of fun. It's well polished. And more importantly, it's also not that expensive, So I think right now it's at $40, and it was $40 when it came out. So I mean, that is a huge value, when there's like $60 games that are like, that aren't polished or have really minimal done to them, and it's like, really, you expect me to pay 60 now, 70? So I don't know. Price wise, I think it's a steal. So I do hope to see more people talk more about Remnant 2, which is why we're doing this, right? Like, I feel like there's a lot of co-op games nowadays that don't get necessarily the attention they deserve, and I believe Remnant 2 is definitely one of those games.
And it goes on sale often, so I did not pay $40 for it. I got it even cheaper than that. I think I paid like 30.
Awesome.
Yeah, same here. I paid 30 as well. And like I said, this game could very well be a 10 out of 10 for somebody that really enjoys this type of genre. It's just, preference for some people.
And lastly, I'll say, if you did like Remnant 1, it sounds like Remnant 2 as a sequel is much better and an upgrade. So, like, if you love the first one, but you're kind of about the second one, this is a no-brainer. Just go get it. You'll love it. Great. No, thanks, guys, so much. I think that was a fantastic review. You guys definitely gave us a good understanding of what the game's like. I feel like if I start playing this game right now, I will totally... I'm not entirely lost, Even though, granted, yes, I played Remnant 1 and I liked it. I do like what y'all had to say, So, again, thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate that.
Sure.
Yeah, anytime.
No problem. Waiting on that check.
Like I said, it's already in the mail. with some free stickers, All
right. I need it.
Anyway, that's it for today's episode, people. Thank you so much for joining us, and again, thank you, Leo, and thank you, JohnnyBoi, for joining us on this amazing review. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms. We're basically everywhere. Check the links below. Remember to leave us a comment, and we are looking forward to our next episode. This is Silly Squirrel signing out, and remember, people, never stop reviving. Peace. Y'all can say bye, by the way.
Bye.
Bye.